of Bandwagon Nerds. Bandwagon Nerds is, of course, brought to you as a part of the Chairshot Radio Network here on thechairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head.
Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
And if you are in here listening live, thank you for listening live. We will have a chat box up soon, and hopefully we get some audience participation on the back end of this show. If you are listening live, we'd love to hear from you. As you're going to watch Four Nerds draft best TV intros for kids/family programming in the 1970s. And folks, I'm just going to preface this. We'll go into this a little bit more detail later. I love doing these things, but they stress me out a little bit. And we're going to hold that nugget there for now. We'll get to that a little bit later. We are, of course, also going to talk about The Boys, the series finale, and all of that talk. I do believe everybody here has seen The Mandalorian and Grogu at this point. We're going to talk some Mandalorian and Grogu before we get into that draft at a small trailer park. Before we do any of that, though, let's do a quick hello to our friends that are with us, our OGs on the bandwagon. We've got Raymond S. Cashington, Esquire, coming to you live from Parts Unknown, aka the app. He's radioing in on the phone. How are you, Ray? You're muted. I see a silent thumbs up and a nod. Makes me nervous. Tunny, did you silence Ray?
I did not. And for some reason, I can't unsilence him.
Yeah, I'm trying to, and I can't.
I did not unsilence. I did not do that to him, though.
And he's gone.
I did not do that to him. I did not do that to him.
Is he? Wait, is he using the Riverside app? Is that what he
is using? It was funny. He was using the Riverside app. It was going great before we hit record, and of course we hit record, and then all of a sudden, down is up is down. Those other two voices, we will go ahead and introduce. Hopefully Ray gets back, figures out the technical difficulties. We have the commissioner, the executive vice president of Wednesday night programming here on the Chairshot Radio Network. We have a text from Ray that I'm not going to look at because I'm introducing him, Mr. Saturday Night PC Tunney.
He's back.
We have Ray. Are you back, sir?
Fuck him over that. Hey everybody. Hi nerds. Hi world universe. I apologize. I had a internet outage at my house on my phone. This might happen the rest of the show. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can.
Well, our inboxes are always open should you wish to continue to draft and be unable to stay in. Just
send
give
them
them
to
Tunney.
Give
them to Tunney so that Tunney cannot, so that Tunney can steal your picks for his own, and then declare himself the winner.
I already won.
See, this is exactly. Even though the whole point. I love. Well, wait. Okay, saving it for later in the podcast. Dave, the lawyer himself, the other day one OG bandwagon nerd, along with myself. We just got done talking playoff sports over on another very fine podcast that will drop on Tuesday, the Four Corners podcast. A lot of fun. Montreal Canadian players hitting Carolina Hurricane players in the nuts with their sticks. It's good old fashioned hockey.
Good wholesome family entertainment, kids.
It is. How you doing? You went and visited the mouse this week. That must have been nice.
It was fun. Yeah, it was very crowded, but it was fun.
Line in the park. What was the worst line in the park?
You kind of mentioned it a little bit. We didn't talk about it, but the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, like when we went there Wednesday, all the lightning lanes were gone in an hour. And I'm like,
that's
what the hell? Yeah, I mean, and the lines, I think I saw it max out at 135 minutes for standby, which is ridiculous. but we did Radiator Springs solo a couple of times and single racers, and I won. My son lost, but it's always an interesting trip down there. And
I've always heard that Radiator Springs Racers is the hardest or the worst line to get into.
It is, but they've got a unique thing where you can single rider it. You know,
Mm.
I'll say we mentioned Smuggler's Run. One of the things that was cool was like I got there right after they're doing this thing where they're like showing the original trilogy holographically on the Tuddy would love it on the side of the mountain at Galaxy's Edge. So you can see all the like the characters are holographically projected on the side of a mountain. So you get to see all Luke and all that stuff. And afterwards, I went to Smuggler's Run and I was like, all right, I'm going to jump in the single rider line. The gal's like, oh, we stopped doing single rider. And then she looked at me, she goes, how many of them are you? And I'm like, well, it's just me. Single rider means single. But I say that, but usually there's groups of people that get broken up. She goes, well, if it's just you, go through the lightning lane line. I'm like, okay. So that was kind of nice.
What role did you get? What role did you get on the Falcon?
I got the gunner, and there was these two kids in front of me were all excited because they were going to be pilots. They're like celebrating. They wanted to fist bump me and all this stuff. And I'm like, have you ever been a pilot before? Yeah, I have. How'd you do? We wrecked immediately. I'm like, do better this time. That's what I said. And they didn't do much better. But
angry 50-year-old man looking at kids trying to bully them into flying the Millennium Falcon properly.
Hey, you have
that's some nerddom right there.
You're the pilot or the co-pilot. You have a responsibility. You know this. So
I've only been pilot one time, and it is tough. You need to be able to communicate with your partner because one of you can go up and down, the other one can go left and right. And it is tough unless you are in sync.
We only got one of the coaxials, which to me is subpar. You got to get at least two.
That's very disappointing. I'm sorry to hear that happen to you, but that's okay. We're not going to talk about that. We have got, like I said, we got a fun little show in front of us. We have I'm just going to own. I left one trailer out of the trailer park because I figure we will talk it when we get to point 3 on the rundown. So just keep that in mind. But it is trailer park time. I heard the chairshot.com, which tells me that we should be able to hear a beautiful banjo.
I think so.
Should Tony choose to play it? We never know. It seems like we get so far in the show, and then all of a sudden we're like, and no more sound. We got sound.
And that's about it.
All right. Welcome.
Dave, you want to make up some non-copyright banjo music over there? Maybe we'll get Andrew on it. Ray, can we get Andrew on that?
I can do it, but
we'll get Andrew on it.
I'll text him today.
Somebody will claim that they did it first. But
Andrew will have 7 renditions in my inbox before the show is over. Trust me, he loves doing this shit.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
Facts.
While we're talking about music, once again, as Patrick is sifting through trailers, he comes across one that he missed, and I got unreasonably excited about this particular trailer being brought to us by Questlove on HBO Max, and it is a documentary about what I would argue is one of the great funk fusion bands of the 1970s and early 80s, and continues to play to this day, despite key members moving on, crossing the Rainbow Bridge, and that is Earth, Wind, and Fire. Everybody knows September, like obviously, like that's probably one of the easiest songs to put out there.
Do you
Tony?
remember?
Yeah, Tony remembers. He remembers the shining star. You're a shining star. All that stuff. I hope people take the time to, at the very least, watch this trailer and just listen to these band members talk about how they saw music and the importance of music and how they very much believe and want it to transcend just being something you can dance to. That they want music to be a state of mind, a way of life, a way of living with others, a way of living in harmony with others. Like when you hear Age of Aquarius shit, this Earth, Wind, and Fire gave them that idea. And then to hear them talk about the influence that Earth, Wind, and Fire had on artists like Michael Jackson and Prince, to have Barack and Michelle Obama doing interviews in this documentary. I cannot wait to watch this. I absolutely cannot wait to listen and watch the Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary when it hits HBO Max in June. And I know Dave is ready to do it too.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire is obviously, I mean, very topical given the given what we're going to be drafting later on. I really love Earth, Wind, and Fire. My son is a big fan of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So this is a band that crosses generations, and that's awesome. You know, I sent him the trailer this morning because I know he'll be into it. But yeah, I just love the trailer and them talking about, you know, the deeper meaning of some of these songs and very consciousness based and expanding your horizons and all that sort of stuff. So I thought, yeah, I did not know this was out there, but they are one of those bands that I think, you know, I think they fly under the radar a little bit because people naturally look at this kind of genre and they think, oh, the Commodores. You know, you even have Lionel Richie talking about the influence Earth, Wind, and Fire had on them. But yeah, I think this is going to be an excellent documentary, and I'm absolutely looking forward to checking it out.
Ray.
So first off, I want to give some love to Questlove because if you haven't been paying attention, Questlove quietly has produced, directed,
And we'll get back to that thought if Ray comes back. And
It's going to be a good thought.
It's going to be a show. It's going to be a show. Tony, I'm gonna kick it over to you in the hopes that Ray comes back a little bit. Any thoughts about Earth, Wind, and Fire? Whether the band, what you thought of the documentary trailer, anything like that? Until Ray gets back, I'm going to hand the floor to you, sir.
No, I think they're an excellent band. They're one of my stepdad's favorite bands. They have songs that you mentioned that are going to transcend time. Like they are just associated with, you know, fun and energy and movement, like you said, right? Like such an underrated band of all time. They were so unbelievably talented and more hits that you can even think of if you threw their albums on and just listen to them for a night, if you have them or whatever, go on YouTube or go on Spotify, you'll recognize so many more songs than you think you will, not just the ones we're talking about here. So for all the fans of Earth, Wind, and Fire, I'm sure that they're really ready to check this out.
Yeah. I think people would be surprised how much Earth, Wind, and Fire pops up in just sort of common everyday thing. Like, you know, Dave and I, Disney nuts that we are, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, the roller coaster, one of the tracks that you could possibly get is September. And on the 21st of September, that's the only song you get on Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it is that, and it is that. I saw a text blink in my periphery. Is Ray giving it, calling it?
He's trying to get his internet working. So
he is going to try to get his internet working. Hopefully we get Ray back.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
We will definitely keep those fingers crossed. I remember really loving Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do either of you remember the Nick Cannon film Drumline?
Sure.
Nick Cannon and Orlando Jones play a marching band in the Deep South. And
who's married to Dwayne Wade? What's her name?
I don't remember.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
You'll look it up. But Orlando Jones's character is this band director, and he loves him some Earth, Wind, and Fire, so much so that he keeps putting it in their routines.
Gabrielle Union got her big start in that. Yeah, I can't believe I couldn't remember her name. She is spectacular.
Yes, great movie.
I'm fixated on Tony's shirt. I thought it was saying Dickhead, but now that he's sitting up farther,
Buckhead. Buckhead Saloon.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
an old softball shirt. It's an old.
I thought he was. I honestly, Dave, I just thought it was his response.
We're also
to me every
sponsored
time
by Mike and Grelly Plumbing and Dunn's Sporting Goods. There you go.
All right, look at those. Not sponsors of the show, sponsors of Tony's softball pursuits.
And Kingpins is also a Kingpins production.
I'm just
Dave.
saying we are looking for sponsors for the show, though. I mean, Tony.
I don't think any Milwaukee bars are gonna. I am their mascot already on every show.
There you go.
Damn it.
Okay, so stay tuned for all of that. Great stuff. I'm looking forward to that documentary. We also had a trailer for a Netflix film coming out soon, starring the great John Cena. Comedy titled Little Brother. I don't know if Dave is if Tony's efforting the cast, because I can never remember the guy who plays I can never
Little
remember his name.
brother.
The guy who plays the little brother. Um,
Oh, that's
but
Eric Andre.
Yeah.
Eric Andre plays this character, and basically, this is John Cena playing the straight man character that we would see in so many comedies. The guy whose life is all together. He's got the wife, the kid. He's on the verge of a big promotion, and this guy shows up claiming to be his little brother. And by little brother, it's not like his actual like blood relative or a step relative. It appears that it's like a big brother program from like back in the past. Like I'm the popular guy. We're looking after this kid to like be like a role model or something like that. So I don't know. It looks funny. It looks like very much sort of again the what about Bob sort of deal where like there's the agent of chaos that ruins the stand up sort of family man who thinks he's got his life under control. I'm sure there's going to be many ways, and I'm not saying they're going to be the same movie. Tuddy, I feel like you feel like I disrespected What About Bob
No,
based
I
on your
just
facial expression
I've
there.
no, I'm just sitting here reliving What About Bob right now, and it's a great time. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
I know, and but it's the first. It is the first example I could think of like, Richard Dreyfuss's character in that movie. He's got it all figured out. His family's happy, everything's fine, and then Bob is this big monkey wrench. And in this one, John Cena's got a life all figured out. Now, here's the difference. Much more graphic. Bill Murray was not pissing on cars while John Cena is trying to film a commercial. Like
Just
Or,
say
the
it.
talk,
age,
or talking
Sails now.
about
He sails now.
the
He's a
effects on
sailor.
the
I sail.
on the shaft and all this other stuff.
right, like things like that. So though it does seem like there's more, of course, to the little brother than meets the eye. In the trailer, John Cena's character at one point finds a medical admittance bracelet that says that he was in the psych ward. So I don't know. It looks funny. It's not necessarily a comedy that hasn't been made before, but I could watch it on a random Tuesday afternoon on a day off for funsies on Netflix. Tony, what about you?
Yeah, I mean it's a Netflix one, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So a lot of people are going to watch it because you have Cena in there. Ego Wodum is in there. Michelle Monaghan, Sherry Cola, Christopher Maloney's in this as well.
Yes.
I don't remember seeing him in the trailer, but I was watching briefly. Cena's working, man. And that's one of the biggest compliments you can give someone that's that big in Hollywood. They're working all the time.
Right. I do like we've seen Cena do comedy before. This is a different side of where we've seen.
He's
Cena
usually
in
been
comedies.
the punchline guy, right?
Right.
Whether it's Ricky Stenicki or the movie he did that had LeBron James and a female comedian that's not very popular anymore. I can't remember her name.
Amy Schumer,
There you
Trainwreck.
go. Yeah, Trainwreck.
I'll say this has a Blockers feel a little bit to me, because John Cena in that one was kind of like the dad trying to get to his daughter and a little bit more of the straight guy sort of thing, but he ends up getting roped into stuff like butt chugging beer and all this other stuff as Blockers went along. And this feels like he's going to get roped into. You already see him at the club doing all sorts of weird stuff. So this has that kind of feel to it. I don't know if this has what it would need to be as good as that movie was, but like Tony says, it's a streamer on Netflix. Not that there's going to be a shortage of anything to watch, but this might be something to tune on. If there's nothing else on, go and check it out because it is John Cena and it looks like it'll be funny.
All right, this is the last time I'm going to do this, so you need to get your shit fixed, Ray. This isn't Cena's first Netflix movie. Could be big. Maybe a connection with WWE's relationship. Remember, he's actually an Amazon guy.
Sure. Thanks, Ray. Ray from Beyond.
Ray's super pissed right now. He's got so much to say and he can't get his fucking internet to work. And we're sitting
Right.
here.
He's
We love
worried
you,
about
Ray.
missing a draft.
Keep commenting, Ray. We'll
Ray,
mention
you
your
are
comments.
you keep texting Tunney your draft picks. That's what
text
we need
Patrick
you to
your
do.
draft picks.
I don't want his
Just
draft
put it
picks.
in the.
I'm the
Ray can
host
put
of
it in
the show.
he could
No,
put it in
that
the
guy-
it'll
chat.
be fine. It'll
Put
be
it in the
fine. It'll be
chat.
fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be
Fine. Be fine.
Everything's fine.
It's fine. How are you?
KKKKK. Okay.
Yeah, everything's fine. How are you?
Everything's fine here. How are you? I'm so fine. I'm ready to talk about parallax and lanterns. And here's the
Yes.
thing. Let's start with this. Are you glad to finally see some fucking powers, some
Yes.
lantern powers in a lanterns trailer? Because that's what
Can
we
I-
got. We got our second trailer for lanterns. Dave, you're ready to go. Go crazy.
No. I agree with you. It's great to see the ring in action and to see what this ring can do. And I think it was really smart of them to do it this way, where they didn't show any of the ring the first trailer. This one's all about the ring, and it's all about Green Lanterns. It's all about Jon Stewart trying to supplant Hal Jordan and Hal's just attitude. You get to see Guy Gardner. I mean, I'm just beyond thrilled to see Green Lantern portrayed in a serious, real way, not the way that the Ryan Reynolds movie went. This series, this trailer looks like it's got everything going for it that I was looking for in this series. I think this is going to be a massive. I don't know if it'll be a hit or not. We'll wait and see. But this is what Green Lantern's supposed to be. They come right out and say this is the most powerful weapon in the universe. And I love the fact that they go right there, right in the very first beginning of this trailer. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I'm always been a big Green Lantern guy. If he's going to be done right, this is where they're going to do it right. You get to see we've got at least 3 lanterns in this trailer to speak of. So I'm excited about this, guys.
How much is Guy Gardner actually going to be in this series, though? Is it going to be like a one-off appearance in an episode?
I think he'll be a central part of like one episode, probably. That'd be my guess.
For those who don't know, Dave, who or what is Parallax? Because it seems pretty clear that Parallax is going to be a part of this.
That's such a difficult conversation because Parallax is actually
at the most basic level.
He's the big bad of the Green Lantern universe. Yes,
right.
I mean, more of a threat than even Sinestro is. It gets complicated because in the comics, Parallax is what Hal Jordan morphs into, and then he ends up being the Spectre and that sort of thing when Hal goes dark. I don't think they're going to go down that path in this show because it's just too convoluted and too complicated. But that's who the Parallax thing is going to be. I mean, maybe John's attempts to become the Lantern leads Hal down that path. I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong here in watching this trailer. Maybe I got the wrong impression, but it does clearly look like Hal Jordan. There's something wrong with Hal Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of his attitude. He seems really dickish.
I forgot to watch the trailers. I had already seen the Earth, Wind, and Fire trailer. I briefly got to watch the little
Tunny,
trailer.
Go watch this trailer right now. Mute yourself. Watch this trailer. We can buy you a couple minutes.
Tunny, bad news though. The Flash is not in this trailer.
He's not in it, but you need to watch this trailer, man. You're a DC fan.
Get total BS.
No, he's a Flash fan.
No, I'm a fan. I like DC.
Ray's got it. Did the Guardians pick John or did Hal?
Ray's got opinions.
It's the most active our chat's been because one of our hosts is having internet challenges.
I would say the Guardians. I would answer Ray's question. I think the Guardians picked John because it's clear that John is trying to replace Hal. So why would Hal pick him if John?
And there's even a big speech where it's like, "Go get that ring." Go get that ring, Jon Stewart. Right. And then host a daily show. Oh.
All right. Well, we got to buy Tunny some time to see. But
no, it's okay.
Pat, he doesn't. What did you like about the trailer?
I think I mentioned it before. It's powers. It's actually seeing the ring in use. It's actually seeing, because like when we talked about this, when we watched and reviewed the first trailer, the conversation really centered around, I don't know about this, guys. We're not really seeing much. It's these two dudes in a dry, dusty old town. This doesn't feel cosmic, right? Like that was the big thing, is I don't know. And I still don't know that this necessarily feels cosmic in the sense that
he uses the ring to make counterfeit money, which I thought was funny.
Yes, that was very funny. And so it seems to me that we're still like the Green Lantern core and that piece of it is, I think it's going to be talked about, but not present. Guy Gardner might be the representative who like shows up to have that conversation or something. Like I don't know. I am more optimistic about the trailer after seeing, like I said, a character like seeing the ring in action being used. And so we'll have to go there. As Ray Cash keeps saying, remember, yeah, he's been cast, but we haven't seen him yet, so we can't really talk about him because he's not in the trailer yet. So we gotta wait. But yes, but it still feels small town grounded, not cosmic. Tony shaking his head. Oh,
We've already seen a lot of that in an earlier trailer or teaser, right? Right? His attitude.
did
he's
you
always
see the right
trusty.
one?
Did you see
Just
the right?
watch what you sent me?
Okay. No, I mean, Hal's
I
attitude.
mean, maybe I
yeah,
said the wrong
he's-
trailer. I don't know.
No,
I've
no,
screwed
you
up
did.
before.
I mean, I think Tony's referring to Hal's
No, I didn't
negative
say we had
attitude
seen
towards
that
John.
specific one before, but I've seen like a trailer already.
What'd you think of the ring, the powers, and all that stuff going on? It's pretty cool.
It's no flash ring, but whatever, you know.
Oh my god! God dang it! What-
It looks interesting.
You know what?
I hope it does well. Like to you guys' point, Guy Gardner, you see him, I think when one of them is in jail, so maybe he comes to help out really quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went character for Patrick for a little bit, but there's your honest opinion on the trailer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I will be in on it. I don't want it. I just don't want it to be a crime procedural. Like if that's for lack of a better way to
Is
describe
that
it.
Laura Dern in there too?
Maybe
I'll effort it.
a legitimate. I don't remember, and I don't want to be too much of a simp because we're going to talk about a simp here as we look at the boys' final season and the season
Oh,
finale.
Laura Linney. My bad, Laura Linney.
Yeah, Laura Linney, great
Okay.
actress, award-winning actress, Laura Linney. All right, the boys. The boys is over. We had a funeral where we got to read the funniest last will and testament of all time. And then the rest of the episode is really building to this final confrontation from Homelander. We first have to get confirmation that Kumiko that the experiments that Frenchie, with the help of Sister Sage, were pulling actually work. Sister Sage insults her to the point of rage, and she takes, and Kumiko does prove that she does indeed have Soldier Boy's ability to radioactively remove the powers from Soups, starting with Sister Sage. She is ecstatic to be dumb and decides to go to Harry Potter World eventually, because she quickly learns that she's not smart enough to help anymore. We get Homelander preparing to make his address to the nation, where people are being evaluated by psychics and targeted if they are not complete and true believers. And then we have the boys try to make their way, the remaining surviving members of the boys trying to make their way to confront Homelander and take him on. They eventually do, with an assist from Ashley at one point, an assist from, I'm going to forget the kid's name, so drink. Homelander's Ryan shows up. And at the end, through the joint efforts of mostly Billy and Ryan holding Homelander and being blasted by Kumiko, Homelander loses his powers. And when he does, he becomes everything that this show and every character that's confronted him has said he would be. And that is a worthless, crying, pathetic simp begging to be allowed to live. And Homelander does not give him that privilege as he beats the holy fuck out of him and then stabs him through the eye with a crowbar. Along the way, Annie takes out the Deep. Of course, we knew it was going to come at the hands of the ocean. Annie eventually knocks him into the ocean. The sharks kill him, and we get a tentacle through the face, through the mouth. That was glorious. Oh Father, with his super resistant ball gag, gets his head blown off, which, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, I remember that part. We get a nice little redemption for Mother's Milk as he reunites with his lady love and adopts Ryan. That was something that Ray did point out in our chat and saw come full circle that he had promised Homelander he would look after Ryan better than, or not Homelander, Butcher, that he would look after Ryan better than he ever did. And then we get the heel turn that was kind of abrupt. We're celebrating the death of Homelander. Butcher goes to look for Terror. Terror has died because he is 900 years old. R.I.P. Terror.
I think it's
And
Terra. And it's
Terror. I don't know, whatever. I like calling
You can
whatever
tell
her name
with
is.
with Butcher's accent, it's kind of hard to tell. So.
Oi, that
Oi,
dog, the dog.
You fucking
Anyway,
cunt.
Anyway, whether that's what pushes him over the edge or he was always intending to do so, Butcher then returns to Vought and has taken the vial of the virus that Frenchie had developed that will kill all soups and puts it into the fire sprinkler system with the intent of luring all the soups back to Vought and causing a fire alarm to infect them all and kill them. Huey goes and tries to stop him, eventually succeeding. But it took a bit. And thank you. And resulting in Butcher being shot and killed by Huey. And that being the end of it all. And then Huey being sad to lose Butcher after all that they had been through. We get a little denouement where we also find out that Vought will still go. So Tony's kind of right. The bad guys lose, but don't lose because our boy, remind me of his name too.
Stan Edgar.
Yeah, Stan Edgar taking over reluctantly with a heavy heart.
Who is he in Star Wars?
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon, yeah. I think we just call him
Stan
that.
Edgar taking over Vought
Stan Gideon. Moff
Stan
Edgar.
Gideon
Moff Edgar.
as the
Moff
CEO. And I just love they're watching this press conference and Mother's Milk is like, motherfucker, he was right. And it reminded me what Tony said about what if nobody wins or what if the bad guys do win. And on some level, like Vought still exists. Stan Edgar knows what he wants to do, and he's continuing to talk about having superheroes.
Soldier Boy's still frozen.
And don't forget, the president calls Huey to ask him to head up the, internal affairs, regulating soups.
And Huey's like,
so
fuck off.
No, man. Respectfully, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, Huey's going to be a dad. Huey's going to be a dad. So, yeah. I mean,
and it seems like they're doing the Spider-Man listening to the bandwidth radio and Starlight's fighting crime that way. It's kind of the true like comic book superhero fashion. Yeah. But no, that moment with Stan Edgar accepting the CEO responsibility actually reminds me of an old episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's a musical episode, and one of the lyrics in one of the songs that they sing is "The battle's done and we kind of won, so we'll do our victories here." Like they kind of won, but did they really win? And it makes it really interesting going forward because you could still like there's room for the spinoff. And I know Gen V was supposed to be it and Gen V gets canceled. We did get our first trailer and look at Vought Rising, but that's a prequel. And that was the other trailer I figured we could talk about in this space if you've had a chance to watch it. But yeah, it's a satisfying ending in the sense that story is resolved. Homelander is dead, but there's still things that could, and may happen.
Go ahead, Tony.
Well, here we can show Raids. Even though this is Homelander's show, is always about Butcher and Huey's relationships. The ending with Huey being the only one to see some humanity in Butcher.
Continue.
It's continued.
I thought it was
cunt. Or is that oi cunt? But it's like it went back to real life. I mean, there's always going to be problems. You didn't get rid of all the bad in society and people in the world with just killing Homelander. But the point was to stop Homelander, and he didn't shove that crowbar through his eye. He stuck it right in his forehead and popped his fucking head open like a can of soda. But it was a good episode. I mean, for a finale, it was a really good episode. They kind of gave everybody a little bit of what they wanted. I mean, Kimiko comes to terms with you know who she is, and that it's not like fear or hate, it's love that she needs to live with. We talked about Huey and Starlight staying together. um Butcher was always on a suicide mission, so the fact that his
Right.
friend took him out, I guess, is apropos. Who am I missing? Oh, and then Mother's Milk, yeah, with Ryan and that becoming a family again. So I could see that being a spinoff as they're trying to, but Ryan doesn't have powers anymore either. So I'm okay with this whole thing being done. I don't mind the prequel series. I like Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy anyway, so that might be something to look into. But you know what? It was 5 great seasons worth of a really really cool fucking show that made some people's careers and will forever associate a certain number of actors with some of the great roles they played. It's like real life South Park kind of, with how extreme and insane everything was, from the gore and the sex and everything in between. But at the end, it was about the characters, right? And it was about Butcher taking out Homelander, and he did.
Yeah, I think full circle. The show comes full circle. It started with Huey and Homeland, or Huey and Butcher. It ends with Huey and Butcher.
Right, right. I mean, in that part, I don't have any problem with the way that last segment ended with Huey being the one to stop Butcher, and Butcher just kind of being like, no soups can survive, or because he's right, because this will all just start over again. There will be another Homelander, and I think there's a lot of logic in what Billy was thinking at the end. Huey, of course, wasn't going to let that happen and lose the love of his life, because that's what would have happened. Um, the Homelander stuff, I'm torn on this one, because
Not even a
at the
little.
end,
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just like, part of me, it's like the way he goes out is apropos for him, because like you guys said, this was always who he was a petulant, scared child. Without, if you take away his powers, that's how he was going to go out. I'll suck your dick, I'll eat your shit on live TV, all that sort of stuff. There's a part of me though that wanted them to somehow stretch that ending out a little bit and make it more like Harry versus Voldemort, and you wanted that big epic sort of last battle with Homelander. It's just me. I'm just saying this is kind of
playlist.
This is what I kind of wanted from it. So I was very torn as far as the end. It was, I thought his death was a little anticlimactic because of that. But
see,
on the other hand, hold on. On the other hand, I do like the fact, like Tuddy's saying, that crowbar through the head, pop his head off, brains are everywhere. Ryan having to see his dad like that really brought the magnitude of the moment home to him. But I agree with you guys. It's a good episode. It's a really good ending to this. And like Tuddy said, they have left the door ajar a bit, where if they want to come back to this, there's things they can do for a season 6 should they decide to go down that path.
So there won't be a season 6. Like, they've made that very clear. Eric Kripke has said that. Like, no season 6, but a spinoff or a sequel, who knows? The ultimate thing about why I am happy with how Homelander dies is, one, it wasn't some big bombastic, just epic death where they came out of nowhere to finish him off. Homelander, who has been this giant throughout the entire series, this massive, horrifying, megalomaniacal threat. The reason he is that is because deep down, he is a small, terrified, pathetic person who's nothing without his powers. And that's the point, is that he needs to be reduced to nothing and be shown for what he really is. And that's why I like it, because we get plenty of epic battles and showdowns, and we get quite a fight that goes on before we can hold him in place and blast him. So it's not like he didn't go down swinging, but once he finds out that he's not what he used to be, and that he's not a god, and that his life is about to come to an end, like, It works for me.
I get what you guys are saying. It worked for me to a large extent. I do like Ashley basically saying, I'm not going to resign as president. In the quickest impeachment of all time, she was impeached and removed from office.
Well, she wasn't even president for that long. She was president for like a month. Like it's hilarious that goes down. And the other thing that I think is very typical of a lot of these, like the big bads going down, like you talked about Voldemort. Voldemort doesn't go down in a big explosion. He goes down in a whisper and he disintegrates and he turns to dust.
Same as Thanos.
Sits down on a thing, goes to dust. It is one of those things where
and you're right. Those were villains.
Big monster villains tend to go down quietly.
And you're right. Those are villains who were totally different than Homelander. Thanos wasn't a fucking coward.
Thanos dies accepting his fate. Like that's the thing that's so different between him and Homelander. Thanos takes it like a man, to be a toxic masculinity. Like he takes it standing up on his feet bravely. Well, not brave. He sits on a stump and accepts what's going to happen. Whereas
Voldemort's just shocked that it happened. That's
Voldemort can't believe what happened, and Homelander is a sad, desperate man baby trying to do anything to not die, even if that means eating shit on live television or sucking Billy Butcher's cock. And on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break, and then we're not. Tony's like, no breaks. We're done.
We can do this. Head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot. Check it out. Plenty of great t-shirt designs. Makes a great gift any time of year for the wrestling fan in your life. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot. And head over to the brand new Chairshot, thechairshot.com. That's what you need to put in. Tons of great new articles, premises, specials every single month, trivia galore, and podcasts streaming live right now on the website. That's thechairshot.com. Always use your head. Now back to Patrick O'Dowd and episode 342 of the Bandwagon Nerds.
342. Thank you very much. So I sent y'all a picture in the Bandwagon Nerds X Twitter thread Friday morning around 10 a.m.
Oh, yeah, you look thrilled.
It's a picture of a disheveled Patrick O'Dowd sitting in a movie theater. And I do believe I said, well, I'm here, I guess. Because I for the good of the show, I paid money to see The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters. However, I did not spend XD money to see it. I did not spend 4X money to see it. I did not spend IMAX money to see it. I did not spend 3D money to see it. I spent, look at that thrilled face.
That is a thrilled face.
I spent old person Friday morning matinee in a standard theater money to see The Mandalorian and Grogu. And I'm glad I did. So I'm going to say to everybody here before we get into the movie itself, what I said to David Ungar when I texted him. It is the epitome of fine. This is the definition of fine, in my opinion. Because I felt like this movie was basically 4 episodes of The Mandalorian seamlessly put together to make a full-length feature movie. And there are a lot of fun things in this movie. Grogu is a delight. He's a lot of fun. Those little mechanic aliens that we've seen from previous Star Wars iterations, heck of a fun time. Rod of the Hutt, interesting caricaturization, not what I was expecting, but fun nonetheless. Sigourney Weaver kind of looked like she was phoning it in a little bit, and that's okay. Like, not saying she was bad, but I also didn't feel a lot of excitement out of Sigourney Weaver. We got Star Wars Rebels nods, but it was just kind of a standard thing. The Mandalorian and Grogu are helping the New Republic hunt down former members of the Empire who are operating in secret. And the movie opens with Mando tracking one of them down. Nice little Easter egg from the end of The Mandalorian season 3, as he was one of the people that Moff Gideon was talking to at the end of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Uh, after tracking them down, they get their next assignment, which is a mysterious member of a former member of the Empire who is loaded with information on the whereabouts of others. And in order to get that information and to track this guy down, Mando has to go to the siblings of Jabba the Hutt, the brother and sister, they're twins that are because Rada's his son. And I believe they're his aunt and uncle.
Yeah, I think so.
And so they have the information that Mando needs to capture this former Imperial. Their condition is for him to, quote unquote, rescue Rada the Hutt, which doesn't turn out to be entirely accurate. And we get action. Action ensues. We get I will say there was a big growth moment for Grogu when Mando is incapacitated and poisoned, and Grogu is trying to take care of him and building him a shelter and doing everything he can to keep Mando alive until we find a little sort of, hello, my friend, is plot saving. I'm the plot saving guy. I'm a random dude on a porch, knows how to cure this crazy huge lizard venom. Just mash some plants together, stick him down his throat. He'll be fine. Anyway, I didn't have enough. I had a good enough time. The movie was the epitome of fine for me. And I don't even know where it takes anything in this era of the New Republic Star Wars, like lore, if you will. So Dave, Tony, either one of you can go. I don't mind one way or the other. Donnie is ceding the floor to you, Dave.
Yeah. Tony's ceding the floor because he knows I am in lockstep with you. That I gave this a 6 out of 10. And
wow,
maybe a 6.
That's 1 point higher than I gave it.
I mean, maybe 6.75 if I stretch it. It is fine. I think it's a really good movie for what it is, which is a standalone adventures, I should say, of Mandalorian and Grogu. I think, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. The action is top notch. Mando has never looked better in a lot of places. The bounty hunter, who seems like a Cad Bane sort of ripoff a little bit, is a cool.
He was cool. I liked him. I'm glad I'm glad he wasn't just a one-off and disappeared. That he's still alive.
Right. I mean, and the fight between him and Mando at the end was really well done and awesome. There's Rada the Hutt was having a Hutt that's a baby face, for lack of a better term. It's kind of interesting. And he's jacked. Is an interesting sort of development, but ultimately, as many things as they do right, and I love when the X-wings show up at the end, I'm like, you Hutts are screwed because your little pissant fighters are not going to stand up to X-wings. You're not TIE fighters, so you have no hope in this fight. But ultimately, I think it's the last thing you said there, Pat. Like, this doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. I don't know how this ties into the New Republic sort of era of things. I thought maybe there'd be some sort of tie to Ahsoka season 2 or Ahsoka season 1 or anything like that. We're still left with the question, well, where are none of the other Mandalorians were in this movie. You didn't have Bo-Katan. You didn't have Mercedes Monet's character, that sort of thing. So none of the other Mandalorians are in this, which I thought, well, that's a glaring omission. So ultimately, it's going to have the same sort of criticisms that Solo had. It's like, well, what does this really mean in the grand scheme of the Star Wars universe? And I understand things can stand alone and they don't all have to connect. But I think when you look at the kind of the problems that Star Wars had, this one needed some continuity, and it really doesn't have any of that. So I'm like you, Pat. I thought it was fine. It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. But for me to elevate it to the next level, like I think Tony and Ray are going to, I didn't see it. Go ahead, Tony.
So Embo is the bounty hunter that catches Mando with his.
What's his dog's name?
Anuba. It's an Anuba, and it's called Marak.
So Anubis related.
There you go. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it on a super screen in 3D, and it was great because of all the action. I got to see a couple trailers in 3D. I got to see the Wildwood trailer in 3D, Patrick. That was fucking great. Got to explain to my mom exactly what stop motion capture was.
Stop motion animation.
Yeah, and I tried to explain it before, really quick while the thing was on, but didn't want to be loud. And then driving back from the movie, I was explaining it to her, and she goes, "Oh, that must take a really long time." I go, "Well, that's why they haven't made a movie in 10 years." She goes, would I know any of them? I go, Coraline. She goes, "Oh, okay, that one I know." She goes, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." So the 3D aspect really enhanced all the action, and this was an action
I
movie.
can't tell you. I can't tell you how much that little statement warmed my heart, Tony.
What's that?
That you explained stop motion animation and Leica Studios and all that to your mom. That warmed
Yeah.
my heart. I'm not
There
even
you
being
go.
sarcastic.
No.
That kind of made my day.
Yeah. Well, you're
Kinda made
welcome.
my day.
Wait till
No,
the draft starts.
Yeah, then you're gonna hate me. So
But it's
remember this
it's not a
moment.
competition.
Remember this moment.
We agreed that this was not a competition.
Bandwagon nerds number 342. Remember this moment.
Oh, God.
No, you know what? This movie was made in a way also to bring along a new generation of Star Wars fans. Like there was a lot of scenes and entire like premises that were just for the kids. Like Grogu taking care of Mando, like nursing him. That was like so drawn out. Like my only problem is this movie could have been 155 instead of 212. It really could have been. They dragged some things out, but what I think they did was set up doing a couple more of these. I really do, because it should be called The Adventures of Mandalorian and Grogu, like you said, Dave, because that's what they are. They don't need to have the entire galaxy at stake to make a good movie. It can just be a fun adventure between these two characters that people really freaking love. And maybe along the way, we connect the dots and find our place on where we need to move forward in the bigger picture in Star Wars, because we talked about this. They're horrible at the movies right now, as bad as they've ever been in their cinematic timeline. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. This is going to make them some money. Hopefully, they can find something through this. There needs to be at least one more, likely two more of these that bring you into the next set of Star Wars. The last thing I'll say is this felt more like a 4, 5, and 6 Star Wars. It felt more old school with the Mandalorian Western style storytelling integrated into it. I really like the space scenes and a lot of the flight and a lot of the cutting right into heading into hyperspace and things of that nature. Razor Crest looked amazing. I like the introduction of all the different people that they have that are working with the Republic.
Can I say
And
something? Was it just me, or did Razor Crest remind you of Lone Star's Winnebago a little bit from Spaceballs?
I mean, the way that the characters were in it, yeah, that way for sure.
Because I made the comment to my nephew during the movie. I'm like, this feels like Spaceballs a little bit.
And Road of the Hutt is a great character that should be used moving forward as like someone that's a major part of the Republic. I think you're just establishing different places that Mandalorian can either know he's an enemy or a friend now, right? So and Anzalons are what the little mechanics are called, and Babu Frek is the main one that everybody fell in love with right away. And it's hilarious that you can't understand them until they need you to understand what's going on because something big's happening. Like
told you we'd be back.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I was gonna say. And then
like when Mando
we'll be back.
When Mando comes out and he sees the ship and it's so small and he's like, I can't get in that. You can't get in that.
I give it a 7.75 because of what I think it's going to do and how great the action was, and it played so well in 3D. I love the characters, and I can't wait. I think this is more of saying, "Hey, people, if you haven't watched the series, go watch it," because you can could have gone watch the movie without having seen the series, and you can go back and watch the series now having seen the movie. It's not going to ruin anything. They're just mini stories, hopefully leading to something bigger. And like you guys said, there was no other Mandalorians here. We got to have something that leads into a movie like that, right? They got to go there somehow.
Well, I mean, maybe it's Ahsoka season 2, but you've got to resolve where the hell are the Mandalorians in the sequel trilogy. Somebody's got to explain that sooner or later. I adamantly feel that way.
I don't know. I don't feel that way, but as it is, I wish I could say I was happier about it. I was fine. Like I said, it was fine. It was perfectly enjoyable. Could have watched it on TV and would have been just as happy. So, but I'm in the minority when it comes to audience ratings. The audience score was somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, like 88% positive. Wow. It does have the lowest Rotten Tomato score. I think it's even lower than Solo. But fans who have gone to see it don't care. And that's really all that matters, is that fans who are going to see it are speaking well of it, which could help it in its overall box office success. It may have a level of longevity that I'm not anticipating.
Well,
So-
and like
Currently,
Tony,
the tomato meter is at 62%. The popcorn meter is at 89%.
So it's actually gone up a tick since the last time I looked at it.
and like Tony's saying, there's so much in this movie that is going to be kid friendly. I mean, Grogu is kid friendly, and there's a lot of that. And if that's what Disney was going for, then I think this
It's
movie's
almost like
big
it's
success.
family programming. Is it family programming?
You said that, I didn't, but I see the segue coming in.
So
Very
I
nicely
think
done.
maybe what we're going to do real quick is we're going to flash our websites back up on the screen here, and remind you all that we're awesome, and you should head over. Definitely should check out the new thechairshot.com to check out all of our content, but also head over to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot and invest in some sweet chair shot swag. In particular, there's the Bandwagon Nerds t-shirt that everyone like is very beautiful. It's behind Dave's head. You can't see the whole thing, but it's there. Also, check out attitudeaggression.com. I hear they do some important things.
Thanks, Tony.
I got you, brother.
You know what? If you had to choose between that or a mindless wrestling podcast, I'd choose Attitude of Aggression any day.
Here we go. Oh boy, we got.
Thanks for putting me over, buddy. I appreciate
This is why I need to say I'm the bad guy. I need a crown.
Ray,
Crown my
jump back in with your phone so we can do this draft.
it.
So we we're jumping into a return but a shift on the project game that we have played for many episodes and seasons of Bandwagon Nerds. This started ages ago when the news cycle slows down in late May and the early parts of summer as we slowly make our way to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con this year, or Destination D23, and all of those big entertainment industry news conventions that will take up a good portion of a show without us even trying. You want to talk about a loaded trailer park? Come visit us around, a convention season. It's always a big deal. And this year will be bigger than more normal because Marvel is back at Comic-Con. The MCU is coming back to Hall H, from what I understand. So it led us to doing projects. And those projects used to be listicle shows where we started with movies and we were listing our top films of decades in various genres and categories that then turned into television. We've done video games. And every time we've done this, it's always been like, oh, we'll do a listicle starting at our number 10 and work our way up. People have shared episodes on their list or shared films or shows on their list. You raise your hand. We talk about it later on in the show. And Tony suggested that maybe we shift the format a little bit and just make it a straight up draft so that, with the four of us and 5 picks, you get 20 picks and things to talk about. So still going to take up that significant chunk of time, but it's going to be done draft style and just like fantasy sports, snake style, fellas. There's the double picks. So I did the randomizer ahead of the show because of not doing the rundown last night. I had a drinking problem. And so couldn't do the rundown like I usually do last night, and didn't feel like doing the live on TV randomizer. So the order was already put out. But this project, and we have returned to the 1970s, though I will say last week I almost lobbied harder not to start with the 70s because I think today was the evidence for it. It was really fucking hard for us with this first category. And we're talking about our topic for this round of projects are best television intros from the 1970s, the decade of the 1970s. This week, the subcategory is kids/family programs. And I had to halt the text thread because the conversation was definitely something that more needed to be talked about here on this podcast, as opposed to us doing this debate via text and missing out on some good content. Because I love nerds. I'm a nerd. I'm right there with you. Ray Cash, welcome back. Ray Cash, fellow
We'll see
nerd.
if this works. We'll see
He's
if this
You're
doing his
good.
works. If
best.
not,
You're good. You're
for
good right
now,
now. Yeah.
this is still on my call.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. See how it goes. We're gonna hang in there. But anyway, nerds, when we have a game or we have something like this, we tend to be very passionate and hung up by the rules and trying to like figure out exactly in some cases what are the limits or what are maybe you want to call them parameters and in the case of this even just defining what is part of the genre that we are working from. And so I really, before we get into this, and like I said, this project, Best Television Intros, to be clear, everybody, television intro is not just a great theme song for a TV show. It's a theme song and the visuals. Like, what are you seeing? How does it bring you into the show? We want to draft our best of the best. And Ray had asked a question that I thought was a fair question about could it be shows like what's sort of the parameters of like was it something that just needed to air during the decade? Like could it be something from syndication? I was like, no. I laid it down that the rule had to be the show had to have an original season take place during the decade in question. And if it comes down to it, I do have one pretty controversial pick that I could lay out there. We'll see if it comes to that. However, also along those lines, then came the question of what is kids/family programming? For me, I think of kids/family programming as, and I think many people think this, morning programming, whether that's Saturday morning cartoons or a lot of channels would have children's programming. PBS was all about children, or after school, like I come home from school, what is on television in the afternoon? That's really where I think about a lot of this. And that's where a lot of my picks stemmed from, as well as specific programming that is targeting younger audiences, children or whatever. Some of those without question. Now, that is not to say that some programs that maybe are on prime time or are sitcoms late at night might not or late like in the evening aren't aimed at families that are perfectly family friendly for folks to watch. And conversely, that a morning animated program or a kids show on a Saturday morning couldn't be targeting and have adult elements as part of its programming. Those things can all be true. And so ultimately for me, guys, when it comes to the category itself, I don't think there's a wrong answer. But I'd like to hear your processes. I'm going to start with Ray because we never know how long we're going to keep Ray. So here we go, Ray. This is the big experiment. I'm ceding the floor to you. What you got? Oh,
You talking to me?
yes, I was talking to you. What was your process? What were your criteria for determining what a family or kid program was in this category this time around?
In general, it's the same thing you found, but the 70s were very, 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 very hard for me. Because can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're it's challenging. I'm not gonna lie. You don't even have the like it's a tough day. I'll let Dave go while you be frustrated for a sec. Dave, your category. How did you put it all into play?
Well, for me, I think it's like I mentioned in the
You
chat.
lived
It's a
it,
little,
so it's different.
yeah, it's different for me because I was a kid in the 70s. So my criteria, and I understand some of the, some of the rationale behind what you guys are probably going to say. But for me, it was like, okay, what was I watching as a kid in the 70s? What were the shows that the kids like me were gravitating to? And like, I took my top 20 and I went to my wife because she's around the same age as me. And I said, hey, let me double check this with you. Or do you think these are kids' family shows? And she's like, she agreed with everything. She thought one of mine was like way too low on my list and that sort of thing. But I think that was the way I did it was just I looked at what were we watching as kids in the 70s, what was resonating with the kids. And I just compiled my list that way. And I understand, some of these I mean, there's like some of them are certainly going to be sitcoms, and there's some that I deliberately left out because I'm like, this really isn't family friendly or kid friendly. It really was Happy Days is an example of one of the shows that I deliberately left off the list, even though we were watching it all the time.
Spoiler! Spoiler!
That's not one that I would put on here. But that's kind of how I went about. Go ahead, Tony. You want to jump in here, but
the reason we moved away from the list, and went to the draft is so that we could include more of what we were talking about. Not to talk about it multiple times, because like you're going to have stuff today that someone else is going to have on a list in the future, and we're going to have to talk about it again.
Well, that's your problem. That's their problem. So, I mean,
right, but that's just not doing what the show decided its intention was to do. That's what
nobody
that is.
told me what the intention of the show was.
Well, that's why we switched from a list to a draft.
It's our list.
Oh boy,
it's not a list; it's a draft.
Yeah, but
friendly reminder that we're all still friends here.
No,
we're just arguing.
Yeah, but
yes, I know.
We're fine. Don't worry, Patrick. Dave and I are fine. We can argue for a second.
No, I don't really care if you're fine or not. I just don't.
Yeah.
I get what Tony's saying, but this is difficult for me because for my, like, when you get to the 80s, you guys are going to have stuff that I can't relate to as much because I wasn't, I was a teenager in the 80s. That sort of thing.
Years old.
Yeah. Here's was my process, right? I used Grok. I asked it some specific questions. I also did some natural Tunney list / draft show research, and I went to Wikipedia and I looked at the network programming on Saturday mornings in the 70s, and there was more than 40 different shows that I was familiar with. So that's why I was able to cultivate a list of 20, so that I was able to have enough. I get it. It's fine.
That's fine.
I mean, we don't have
real, right. Some of them are real personal to me. So
no,
I mean,
and that's fine.
And
it's just saying they could have come up on the sitcom list.
About the show, like there's stuff on here that
might.
I didn't watch, but I think the intro is the banger. It's intros, so keep that in mind. And I'm not saying that if you loved the show, it didn't have a banger intro. Like my first pick when we get rolling on this is one of my all-time favorite shows, and I think it has one of the best intros of all time. Like for a Saturday morning / kids show.
It may have gotten a lot easier by 5 if Ray is not going to be able to join us. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're down to it'll be a 15. So just Ray will move out. We'll live with that. So anyway. We'll get into this. We'll get into the thick. We'll go back and forth. The other thing that was really challenging for me in particular, and I don't want to spoil anything or spoil picks. There are some shows that had a variety of iterations over the course of the decade. There's at least 2 programs I can think of off the top of my head that, I think are of note, and that'll be an interesting conversation to have. So I want to name that as well, because I'm almost certain of at least one animated choice that I think Dave would make that I've got on my mind to make as well that had multiple iterations. But for this show, the draft order, we're down. It'll be 15 picks, not 20. The draft order will be myself picking first, PC Tunney, the middleman, at pick number 2, kind of the utility pick, the utility spot. You kind of feel well. And then Dave, who will be turning the quarter, doing the double picks. We got 5 rounds. I get to pick first. And I don't think this will come as a surprise to anybody, but my number 1 pick for television show intros for the 1970s kids films, The Muppet Show, airing from 1976 to 1981. And it starts with that music, that dun da 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 da, as the electric mayhem and the orchestra pit in this big theater are playing the intro song, and then the characters start coming in across the stage. See, it's time to start the music. You got Statler and Waldorf. They always have a different insult to go on. They're going going through this routine of singing the song, Kermit sitting in the O of Muppet Show as they come into place, and then it concludes every time with the great Gonzo attempting to play some form of a trumpet to hit that last big note, and it of course going sideways. That intro is distinct. You can't forget it. You'll never miss it. It is iconic. So iconic. It was brought back in the Disney Muppets movie starring Jason Segel and Amy Adams. That's my number one pick. I don't think that it's a tough one to argue.
I have two questions for Tony. Are you writing these down, or do you want me to?
Have at it.
I'm just the first one down.
I have my list of 20 in this small box over here, and I'm just putting on who picked what. So if I'm just necessarily kind of crossing off what I have. So if you want to make the list, go ahead.
Well, I think another thing that would be interesting is to reveal whether we had where was the Muppet Show on your list, because it was number 4 on mine.
So I didn't necessarily put mine in order. I just knew
No,
what
I
I
didn't
wanted
either.
and figured them out, but they were on my list. I can tell you for all the shows all 20 shows I have on my list, I looked up the episode premiere and then the final episode. The Muppets 9, September 5th, 76 through May 23rd, 81. And that's over in the UK before it came to the States and was syndicated, actually. So.
Okay. I was just curious, but
no,
knock yourself out, buddy.
You got the list though?
I'll write it down. I got it.
You're the man. It's my turn.
It is your turn.
Sir.
Well, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
I had that one too.
Beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbor. Mr. Rogers, that's just an iconic thing. Like, that show, I like that more than Sesame Street, which were the two major PBS ones, right? And just because, like, he would have different guests, right? The mailman would stop by. You'd go to the land of make believe. We'd feed the fish. He'd take off the business sweater and put on the hoodie, and change his shoes and stuff. But just iconic lyrics and iconic intro, I think, goes along with the Muppet Show here for the first round. One of the heavy hitters.
You follow that model of the neighborhood, right? Like that's how it starts. So you follow that model of the neighborhood, and it's like you're following him into the house, and then he opens the door and he sings the song every day. And the thing that is awesome about that intro is for children, consistency is very much important at that age. And so that he would come in every day, take off the business jacket, take off the business shoes, put on the sneakers and the sweater while singing that song. Like, yeah, it immediately brings you into a place. And it is. It was on my list too. It was the second thing I had written down on my draft list.
I did not have it on my list, which I'm like, wow, how did I miss that one? But
you were too busy putting in shows that don't count.
Yeah, sitcoms that should be on the next draft. No, but
well, all right. So I got 2 in a row. So I'll just give them to you. One of them's probably gonna draw Tony's ire a little bit, maybe. The other one will not. But the first one I'm going to pick this is going to come as no surprise because I've mentioned this show repeatedly as having, in my opinion, the best intro of any show of the 70s, and it's the $6 Million Man.
I knew you were going to do that, and I want to know why you would not put it in the action or drama category. Because
it was a kid. I mean, all of us kids were watching it in the 70s because he was a superhero, but he wasn't like the typical superhero. He wasn't like Superman or Batman or those kind of guys.
He's like
so all of us
over there.
Look at Tony. He's just.
I don't even need to say anything. It's fine.
So here's my question.
You missed the whole point.
I think this is a fair question. Because you have picked the $6 Million Man here, is it eliminated from the rest of the drafts?
I will eliminate it from the rest of the draft.
Just because it wouldn't be on my list anyway. Like I was not like I get why.
But what are the categories?
So we have drama, we have action, and we have like what was a variety show, I think, or variety / kind of an other sort of catch-all. We're doing so like I could see it as an action show.
Yeah, exactly. I could.
Yeah.
could. It
So,
could
like,
In
be. It
sitcoms,
could be.
I don't.
sitcoms, I forgot about that.
Well, I don't think
But
it's really a sitcom. It's more of there's so many sitcoms that it should almost have its own category, and variety should be in with
in the
family.
spirit of
That
what
way,
Tunney's
Dave could
saying,
take all of these shows and put them in their proper parts of the drafts.
okay. In the
Tunney is
spirit of what
declaring-
Tunney's talking about, he's declaring war. I get it. No, I'll
No.
eliminate it. I'll eliminate it from action and adventure because I'm putting it here. But that's why I've got it here, Pat, is because like all of us kids were like, this show was everything to us.
Did you own the $6 Million Man action figure?
Absolutely. Absolutely. With the eye that you would look through for the bionic eye. Yeah, absolutely, man. I had all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm not going to put like the Bionic Woman on this list because it's just a spin-off of the $6 Million Man, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean that this show, and to me, has the best intro of all time. It's got one of the best theme songs. It's got all that stuff that Steve Austin, a man barely alive. It's just, I couldn't not put it on here because of what it meant to me as a kid.
So only me, Ray, or Patrick can draft this in its appropriate draft action.
Knock yourself out. Go for it. So when you get there,
But
I
the
hope
problem
you guys
is,
do draft it.
but that's my problem, though, right? Like, it's basically eliminated it from its entire specific genre. Like, if we were to say, hey, let's take this show and put it in one specific genre, what genre would you put it in?
For me, it'd be here, but that's me. For you guys, it might be something different.
Right.
But I'll do
So
my second pick because that won't.
So
won't be
let's turn the
controversial.
corner.
Yeah.
Controversial pick has happened. It only took
Yeah.
one round. Good job.
This
Way to go, team.
this should not be a surprise to anybody either. But my number 2 pick is the Super Friends.
This is my question. So this is one of the examples that I was coming up with. Are you arguing that you are taking the entirety of the Super Friends, or are you taking one of the 3 versions of the Super Friends that exist?
To me, it's the first one that
Well,
came
the
out. where they
70s
said it
one
was-
is the first version, like, right?
No, well, so because I looked this up. So there's the original Super Friends that was 70
September 8th, 1973 through October 26th, 1985. So that would be the only one that would qualify for the 70s decade.
Well, but where are you finding that one? Because when I looked it up, there's the all new Super Friends Hour, which started in 1977. Then there is the Challenge of the Super Friends, which started in 78. That was the Super Friends versus the Legion of Doom. So
Right.
it was segmented.
specials in
So that's why I
between.
asked that question. Like, are we saying it's the whole
right.
thing?
I would
I-
say.
I mean,
Sure.
yes and no. In my mind, I'm thinking of the original one where they said the 4 greatest heroes on Earth: Superman,
With Marvin.
Batman, Wonder Woman, and
Yep.
Aquaman. You had
And
Marvin
then the
and all those.
two normies and the dog, right?
Right, but just that banger of an
Stupid
intro
Wonder
song
Bug.
that they had, that thing was just, I mean,
Meanwhile,
this was meanwhile at the Hall of Justice.
well,
you know,
and that
sort of thing.
narration exists. I'm gonna say I kind of agree with Tony. I think it's just gonna be easier for the sake of argument to say that you took the Super Friends in
Yeah.
totality,
got you.
because for me that voice talking about the rise of the Legion of Doom and the Legion of Doom base rising out of the swamp with all the like vines and stuff coming
Right.
down, and then it's
Right.
of all
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Super Friends cartoons, because it was, as Tunney noted, it played in the 80s as well. Of all the dumbass characters that they bring out of that, you know which one sticks in my head forever? Apache
Aquaman.
Chief.
Oh, bitch.
No, Apache Chief, and he's like he's just
Right.
Goliath. He just grows
What
huge.
what was great about the Super Friends, though, is that similar to the comics, and you could say it with to Justice League and Avengers, is the roster just kept expanding, and this show actually mimicked that. That roster would expand. There'd be more people. You get the Legion of Doom involved.
But I do
yeah.
remember your first intro with Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Aquaman sitting around the floor table, and then they would show like pictures of the villains, and then the kids would pop up. And I hate it. By the way, Marvin is a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. You hear that, Marvin?
He was their version of Snapper Carr. He really was. That
Fuck
was their
Marvin.
Snapper Carr. So,
Marvin didn't need to be there. There was no need for Marvin. You know what we need? We need Tunney to make a pick, because fuck
Yeah.
Marvin. Yeah, it's
There
your
you go,
turn,
Tunney.
Tunney. Pick a drama. Pick Falcon Crest.
For
Sorry.
Dynasty.
Oh,
Um,
shh.
Dallas. Oh, that's the 80s. Sunny days, sweeping the clouds away, going
Yeah.
where the air is clean. Somebody show me how to get to Sesame Street. Definitely. Like I'm thrilled to get those two just to kick off because that's children's programming. Those are iconic intros like that, you know, whether you're from Dave's age to a child right now that parents have, I think it's on HBO Max and now Netflix,
Yep.
Sesame Street, you're watching that since forever. Sesame Street debuted on November 10th in 1969 and is still going and is still one of the most popular children's shows in all of the United States. So maybe the most successful children's show of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't argue that. Like Sesame Street has been an undeniable thing. And again, same sort of thing that music hits and the old intros back in the day where it was the
Kids running
kids
down the
running
street.
down the
Yeah.
street and like playing and doing that whole thing. Again, it just sets you immediately into a
Favorite
place.
favorite Sesame Street character, Dave?
Um, sorry, I have always liked the Count. To be honest with you, he's always appealed to me. I'm a big Dracula fan, so yeah, the Count. One,
Patrick?
two.
That's a great call.
I have two. Grover was like my standby, and then Mr. Snuffleupagus before he could be seen.
Oh,
When
okay.
he would wander off screen just as people would show up for the longest time.
I love the name Snuffleupagus.
Yeah,
So
great
yes,
name.
that's one of my favorite things. I always thought Bert and Ernie were hilarious. Just great fucking comedy right there. So
And it was so great because they were originally voiced by Frank Oz and Jim Henson. Like, and those two were like best friends, and so they would like, and Frank would get so pissed at Jim. Like, if you ever watch something funny, watch Bert and Ernie outtakes from when they were doing the characters. They're
the last
hilarious.
thing I was gonna say is watch the outtakes of the celebrity guests on there. Like Julia Louis
Oh yeah.
Dreyfus with Elmo is hilarious when Elmo is telling her more money in the swear jar, and Julia's like, "You're gonna be rich by the end of this episode, Muppet."
Some good stuff. All right, so that brings me and my turn of the corner here to end round two. I like a
Still,
good banjo.
still some heavy hitters out there.
There are some. I like a good banjo, and I like shitty special effects. And if you combine a good banjo with some shitty special effects, you get the intro that would lead you into what would be the shitty special effects of Land of the Lost. Debuted in 1974, was playing in syndication when I was a kid about a family on a normal expedition. And I I rewatched the intro today just to remember just how bad it is because it's like them on a green screen. They're like not actually on a river on this river raft. And they go in between these two rocks that are literally just two like foam bricks that like fall together. They go down this waterfall and it's cheesy and awful. And then it ends with this stop motion T Rex a la Ray Harryhausen chasing them into a cave before it looks back at you and the land of the lost. Land of the Lost. My number two pick.
Great pick. I had it on my
Great
list.
pick. Yeah,
They did
me
the
too.
they remade the show and then they redid the movie. I think with Will Ferrell, but
Will Ferrell
yeah,
was in the movie. Yes, that is
yeah,
correct.
good
All right.
pick, Patrick. 74 to 76.
Now comes the tough one. So what do I want to do here?
Are you
Are you gonna pick
putting on a
the
costume or something?
Are you
or
gonna
what?
pick the show that had one season with one episode in the 70s?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, there is that show. If it doesn't get picked, I'll let you know what that is. So remind me at the end.
Just hold on. I'm marking through what's been picked. All of
You
my
got
top fours. have
Mr.
been
Rogers,
picked.
Sesame Street, The Muppet
Muppet
Show,
Show. Yep.
Land of the
$6 Million
Lost.
Man, Super Friends. Yeah.
You weren't
Oddly
gonna
enough,
pick.
the $6 million Man wasn't on my list, Dave. I didn't have it listed as a family program.
Sure, you didn't.
I love this. This is so much fun. Tell you, this is
You're
actually
all-
maybe
you're-
more fun than the blatant disregard for the rules. The flagrant disregard for order.
This
All
isn't
right,
Nam, Dave. There's rules.
but I am going to go with a show that debuted in 69, went from 69 to 70, then had a redux. This is along the lines of the Super Friends, and that's Scooby-Doo. Because we had Scooby-Doo, which the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Started in 69, went into 70. Then in 72, we had the new Scooby-Doo movies.
So you're taking okay, so that's a part of this then. Okay, that's what I had on mine was the new Scooby-Doo movies. Yeah.
Because that's the one with the special guest star, the
Yep.
Harlem Globetrotters.
Yep.
Which one of my favorite Teen Titans Go episodes is a Halloween episode that plays tribute to Scooby-Doo with special guest star LeBron James. And LeBron James would like show up in frame and be like, I'm going to go dribble over this way. Dribble. And he'd go off the screen. Totally different thing. Talk about that when we get into modern shows. But the Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? With the ghostly letters that would pop up and that little organ, do, and then it would like show the faces looking around of all the characters before it gets into the song, and you see the different types of monsters and Scooby running away and getting Scooby snacks, and such an enduring IP. Like we're getting another live action version coming out soon, but we've had animated reboots. We've had live action movies with Matthew Lillard. It had seasons in the 70s. I'm sure it'll come up again when we talk about the 80s. The less said about Scrappy, the better. But whatever. Put that intro, like Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? And them running around hiding from the monsters. I couldn't leave it off. I couldn't leave it off my list. So Scooby Doo at my number 3rd pick.
It was very high on my list as well. So
Yeah, I would have likely picked that at some point. It's definitely on my list. I guess it's up to me, hey.
I guess so.
Didn't.
Oh.
Didn't.
You go Pink Panther?
Didn't. Just trying to avoid the whole thing. From YouTube. But yes, I'm going to Pink Panther. Maybe not the most glorious cartoon ever, right? It was K from the episodes I remember watching, but the intro is ridiculous and used for other things, and the intro music has been used for other things, and we ended up getting like a Steve Martin film too as well out of this, and so
and there's the old OG films from back in the day.
But I mean, just moving forward. But yeah,
I was really proud of the Panther's career when he started pushing Insulation.
Yes, it's exactly kind of where I was going to get to there. But yeah, it's just an iconic. This one more than the rest of them. Like it's kind of a cool visual intro, but that music just kind of it's going to carry.
It's jazzy. Forward. It's cool. That saxophone. That's a good.
It's going to carry.
That's a good intro.
Henry Mancini, right? That's who does this. Yeah. No, it's a
right,
good
Dave,
pick. I'm flouting the rules. I'm flouting the rules again, but not nearly as egregious as the first time. No, because I've got my first of the 2 picks is the Brady Bunch, and the dogs are upset about it, that sort of thing.
Tunney's upset about it.
Tunney's upset. I know Tunney. It's not a sitcom. This is a kids show.
It had a laugh track, bro.
It's a sitcom. It's a situational comedy.
Nah, the Brady Bunch was like that was appointment viewing for all the kids back then.
Well, maybe, but it's a sitcom though.
What would you consider the Muppet Show? I mean, you could say the same thing.
Variety.
Okay, that's
not quite a mop, and it's not quite a puppet, but
you're not giving Pat a hard time about the Muppet Show
because it wasn't a sitcom.
Okay.
And it aired on Saturday mornings. Like that was the thing. The Muppet Show aired on Saturday mornings.
It's fine.
Anyway,
it's fine.
No,
it's just another show we're going to revisit on a different draft.
Well, I mean, maybe. I looked at the Brady Bunch. It was circulating around the kids. Most of them were like well, I don't know
The
if Peter
dogs
was
are
a
pissed
teenager.
about this pick.
Yeah,
guys.
they're
I don't
upset
know.
about
They
it.
were
But no,
really angry about it.
I mean, I just remember this show like the Grand Canyon and the Hawaii episodes were like just everything. to us, you know? Yeah, learning about the idol and the tarantula crawling on Peter and all that sort of. It was fun, and it's just like, I mean, it's the sitcoms from the '70s I look at differently than the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch was very, very kid friendly and very kid centric. So I didn't even really have a second thought about that one. So I got the Brady Bunch there. As I turn the corner and come back, this is one that had like it started in the 60s. There are a lot of shows that started in the 60s and didn't carry to the 70s. This one did. I hope it doesn't piss you off by me picking this, Pat, but it's the Spider-Man and that iconic.
That was the one that I thought was the one that pushed it the most because it debuted in 67. Its last season ran in 1970.
Right.
Through
And
June,
that's
through June 14th,
Yeah.
1970.
Yeah, it was
So
it was
that's-
half the year.
I have a
That's
more
why-
controversial one than that, Patrick. Even
I've got it, but I mean the
one
Spider-Man
episode one.
Mhm.
the Spider-Man theme song, you know, is one of the most iconic cartoon theme songs of all time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. I mean, we even heard it in the Spider-Man movies. So
Well, and not just that, like for the time, the animation at the time, like was so like it looked dynamic with him swinging. Like it's really just footage of him swinging through New York City. Like the cheesiest part of the intro is him webbing the car. Like so, there's car criminals and he puts a big web that goes across and it catches the car. That's kind of dope. But like I remember very much him the end of that where he's holding onto the rope and it's swinging right at you as you're walking, or the part where it says Spider-Man and it starts smaller and then it flashes, it gets bigger and bigger and closer and then boom. Yeah, it was the very last thing I wrote on my list in the event that it came to that.
yeah, and like you're saying, there's so many elements of what they did in like the intro to the show that they tried to implement in the movies later on. And it was one of those truly iconic superhero centric, which is obviously where a nerd like me is going to gravitate towards that stuff. But yeah, Spider-Man was one of my favorite shows of all time from back then. To Tony.
I'm here. My fourth pick is going to be something that's probably most familiar by its opening sound of "Hey, you guys," and that's the Electric Company, which is like a
It was on my
crazy,
list.
crazy cool kind of like almost early kids Saturday Night Live kind of thing where they do different like sketches and talk about different stuff and have a good time and try and inform you. And it was very 70s and it had this it felt like SNL met like Wild World of Sports and SNL hadn't
But it
even
was
started yet.
educational too. It was
Yeah,
the cool educational
was.
show. It was the cool Sesame
was.
Street and Mr. Rogers show.
And I don't know about you guys because you guys are too young for this.
It was
but
more
they
culture.
showed this. They showed this in
Spider-Man
school.
was in it.
Yeah, Spider-Man was in Electric Company too. But they actually showed this in school. It was like educational programming so much that they would show episodes of it to us in school.
Morgan Freeman was a vampire in an episode once.
That's true.
But no,
He did
just
other stuff on the Electric Company. I just remember that one.
an iconic
Letterman,
show
remember Letterman?
that lasted from 71, fall of 71 to the spring of 77. So
It's good. Yeah, it was a good show. Good choice.
It's a good run. Good choice.
And that brings me to my last two picks as I turn this corner. And I honest to God didn't realize that this show ran for as long as it did, but it ran from 1972 to 1985. And you talk about like distinctive intros, probably this is another one. It started with a funky little bass line, and then all of a sudden you'd hear, hey, it's Fat Albert. And you would get that cartoon group with Fat Albert and Mushmouth and all the kid with the hat over his face and all of those. That whole gang, and Bill Cosby and his creepiness notwithstanding, Fat Albert was like for me was like kind of the edgy cartoon, and it really kicked it off that you were watching something a little different with these kids as they're walking around a neighborhood to this funky bass line. Doom, doom, doom. It was so great. And so, yeah, Fat Albert is going to be my fourth pick.
Good
I'll be
call,
honest.
man.
I'm not. This isn't like shaming you or anything. I wasn't going to pick it, but I was hoping somebody would pick it. It is an
Because of
iconic
Bill.
theme. Yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those things where I really went back and forth as to whether to keep him on the list or not because
I get it. We
that dude
come
was
from wrestling where we can compartmentalize the character and the real person. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's a good pick.
So
It's a great theme. It's like
Well, and the
it's
show
like it
was
belongs. If Bill Cosby was not having done any of these horrible things, it would have been in the first or second round.
right,
right.
but you take Bill Cosby out of it, and what the show meant to a lot of kids,
Right.
and the
That's
messages
what I
it was sending was really important at that
Right.
time. So
Agreed.
And so I'm going to leave one off that I hope gets picked up and probably would have been picked up if we had 20 picks instead of 15 because just mathing. I think it would have come back to me and I wouldn't have had a choice. But I have to put on my favorite Saturday afternoon, late morning. This was like the late morning Saturday morning cartoon. And it wasn't even a cartoon. It was a live action show. And it would play, I think it was on ABC.
Was it
And
the
the
$6
music
million
was,
man?
it was not. It is Mutual of Omaha's
I love you, David.
Wild Kingdom. Mutual of
wow,
Omaha's Wild
okay.
Kingdom aired from
Ah.
1963 to 1988.
Who
Has
hosted
one of
that?
the multiple people did. Jim, shit, I'm going to forget his name now. There was one guy, he was the head of the St. Louis Zoo that hosted it for a period of time.
What
But
was it called?
there's a ton of folks.
Mutual
Mutual
of
of
Omaha's
Omaha,
Wild Kingdom.
Wild Kingdom, because it was sponsored by Mutual of
Wasn't
Omaha Insurance.
didn't Lauren Green, wasn't he one of the guys?
He might have been one of the hosts at one point too,
Yeah.
but that was I remember watching this and it existed for so long.
Marlon Perkins and Jim Fowler.
Yeah,
Jim
Marlon
Fowler, that's the one I was trying to remember.
And
Marlon
Stan
Perkins,
Brock, Peter Gross, Joe Slattery. Primary narrator was Joe Slattery.
right? And it was so I if we wouldn't get sued, I would play. You want to talk about a banger of a theme song,
Mhm.
like oh, dude, hits you, and then it started like the basic footage was silhouettes of the animals, almost like animated silhouettes before it kicked over to a couple of the hosts that you named, like live action. And then they had this cool swooping shot of a herd of elephants, like moving along the savannah. It was so great. So for my last pick, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Even my wife
I
agreed that
it was
it was
I
a
love
banger.
I love the pick because this is how a lot of us learned about details about animals and stuff like that. And it
Yeah.
really instilled like a love of animals in a lot of us. And you would learn some really cool facts about lesser known, I would say lesser known animals.
It was nature. It was, we talked about David Attenborough last week and like the things that he brought. This is very similar to me. Like I would get excited. You'd hear that music, you'd see those silhouettes, and I was like, what are we gonna see today? Like you might see a lion eating a zebra. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't blank us out, YouTube. But loved
We're
that
we're
episode.
fine. We're
Loved that
fine.
intro. Very distinctive intro. That's my final pick. I turn it over to Tunney and his one episode choice.
No, I'll wait. I don't think Dave's going to take it, but I'm sure we'll come back around and talk about what else is on
This
our
is
list.
the
since
this
we
is your
got
last pick, buddy.
cut
This is the
down.
final pick, yeah.
This is your final pick.
No, I know. I'm going to not pick that controversial one because it's not that high up. But my last pick is going to be the Jackson 5 cartoon.
Oh, good
And
call.
it's spelled the number 5 IVE, and like they used ABC in it, and it had some really cool animations to go along with it. So it was easily the best music of everything because they could use their own music. So I definitely had to put that in as far as intros. That aired from fall of 71 through fall of 72, so a couple seasons of that one. But maybe not as far as shows go, but as far as intros go, easily, considering the song and the visual to go with it.
That's a really good call, man.
Yep.
Um,
Dave, you're
my
bringing
final,
us home.
I
my
spent an
final
hour
pick.
this morning. I listened to all of these, by the way. All 20 I have on my
Oh,
list.
I was
listened to.
I was YouTube watching to
Yes,
make sure that it
yes.
was as banger as I remember them to be, because I was I wanted to be very clear, because I think that it's so easy sometimes. The song is only half of it. And that was what I thought was really important to keep in mind. The song was only part of it, because there's tons of banger songs that don't make great intros.
Yeah.
Fully
My
make great
last one,
intros.
Mr.
my last
Irrelevant.
one, yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. This is I don't think this is controversial, but it's interesting because these weren't really like shows so much as they were like interludes and commercials for other shows, but they taught kids everything about so many different aspects of things, and it's Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh yeah,
That was
for
that
sure.
was the one I was hoping you were gonna pick.
I'm
Or
glad
that
you
somebody
got
would pick.
that.
Yeah,
January 6th, 1973, and it actually did its last Schoolhouse Rock special on March 31st, 2009.
Yeah, wow. Wow. I mean, the intro is one thing, and I know it's the show themselves that are really where the content, and some of the follow-up songs like Three's a Magic Number, I'm Just a Bill, but even the intro to Schoolhouse Rock, and when you were a kid in the 70s and these wouldn't be on Saturday. These would be like after school special sort of things, and they would come
and
on.
You talk about again though that the energy that the intro to Schoolhouse Rock brought before it would then do the thing, like that was as big a part of it as anything.
It really was.
I was gonna wear my Schoolhouse Rock shirt today, but stupidly I wore it on a podcast on Friday, so I like to make sure I rotate them bi-weekly. This is what happens when you become, a YouTube legend like we all have become.
Yes, legends in our own mind. Before we do our recap, let's do some honorable mentions. We'll go in reverse pick order. Since I picked first, Dave, what were a couple of options on your list that didn't make the cut?
All right, I'm going to leave some off that may come back later on, just to honor Tunney's, the spirit of Tunney's objection to this thing. But I think,
this is a nom. There are rules.
Yeah, two of them. The one that
Well,
the one that my wife really wanted me to have higher on this, but it was tough for me because, like, well, which one of these do I pick? Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour, which I thought for sure was going to come up on Tunney, but like Looney Tunes is tough to pin down during this time frame, that sort of thing. I think the other one is that I'd mentioned is Hong Kong Phooey. That was the one I was thinking about.
Hong Kong Phooey was on my list too.
Very brief.
Those were a very brief run, 1 year. I think it was one season, right? That's all.
5 months.
Had. 5 months, even shorter than I thought. But those, and I'll give a shout out to Star Trek's Animated Adventures. That was something that more people were gravitating towards the live action show for obvious reasons. But the Animated Adventures were really good too. Had a really good intro.
A few that were maybe not so popular: Curiosity Shop, New Zoo Review, The Letter People. A couple that are a little bit maybe more infamous would be Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels.
Yeah, that was Captain Caveman.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yep.
And Harlem Globetrotters as well.
Yeah. This decade was a great opportunity for Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Oh,
because in addition to Josie and the Pussycats, I had Jabberjaw. I had, because
there's other good ones too that we haven't even got to. My last thing though is the most controversial thing you could have put on the list.
What's that?
It debuted on September 6, 1969, ran for 17 episodes, in which the 17th episode aired on January 3rd, 1970.
Wow. What is this?
HR Puffin Stuff.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I looked at HR Puffin Stuff, and I wouldn't get that. But in addition to Jabberjaw from the Hanna-Barbera family, I had Grape Ape. I loved Grape Ape. That was always good stuff. And the Laugh Olympics. Underrated Laugh Olympics, which was an offshoot of Scooby-Doo, so that's why I didn't go with it with the 3 teams. And then finally, for me, Canadian Sesame Street knockoff Pinwheel, which would air on Nickelodeon forever, but ran from 1977 to 1979. Was one of my favorite intros, and it was this because it was this like painted house with the music, and it had a pinwheel spinning in one of the corners of the houses, and each of the characters would pop up, and it was human beings and puppets, and Pinwheel was one that I considered making my last pick, but I can't turn down Lions Eating Zebras on a Saturday afternoon.
What one more that I know is not going to come up later on that we haven't mentioned, but maybe should be is Underdog. That was a good one too.
I thought Underdog was the 60s.
Yeah, Underdog was only syndicated in the 70s.
Was it? I thought it.
Yeah, I think it was the 60s because I remember looking it up.
I spent an hour and a half this morning on all that stuff, honestly.
Fine, Tuddy.
What about Super Chicken? Do we know if Super Chicken was in the 70s?
Fact check Tuddy over here. DC fact check.
You know what we like? We believe in rules. We believe in rules, and we. Donnie, you're out of your element. All right, folks. To recap, for best 1970s children's family programming, Patrick picked The Muppet Show, Land of the Lost, Scooby-Doo, Fat Albert, and Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. PC Tunney scored Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, The Pink Panther, The Electric Company, and the Jackson 5 animated series. Dave broke the rules with the $6 Million Man. The Super Friends broke them twice with the Brady Bunch. Picked Spider-Man and Schoolhouse Rock. Still a lot of fun. Great to talk about these intros. Dave has agreed not to do any repeat picks. Won't necessarily stop myself or Tunney, though I hated the Brady Bunch, so I think that one's safe for me anyway. But fun times as always, and that inevitably leads us into the final segment of the show, which is What You Watching. Tunney, other than 1970s TV show intros on television or on YouTube, what have you been watching, bud?
I haven't been watching anything, actually. I've just been trying to keep up with everything we've been doing, which has been great. But I am looking forward to what we got coming up. So Spider-Man Noir and the rest of this project. My question for you on air in front of all of the people is next week we move into the 80s for this genre, or do we stay in the 70s and move over to a different genre?
So if we follow what we've done historically, we have stayed in a decade, and we did a different decade every summer. I look back at how we do it. So I was going to say we were going to do dramas of the 1970s for next week. And so next week, drama intros for the 1970s. Dave, cool. I'm sure will find a way to piss us all off.
Yeah, there you go.
You do not.
Yeah, you're going to put him in action too?
He's getting number one for everything, Tony.
It's like that old Family Feud clip where the dude is asked what you would bring to a picnic, and he's like, turkey. And then they're like, what do you eat for this? Turkey.
Eventually, after time went on, Ray and Patrick realized Tunney was right from the beginning.
I never disagreed with you. I feel these picks were stretches. I also want people to have fun, and hopefully folks have had fun listening to us talk about this in regalias. And look these up. We are planning. This is the project, the plan that Ray and I were talking about. We are going to make YouTube playlists of the intros that were picked and have them available some way, somehow. We'll figure out how that's going to get published and shared. But sharing a playlist is not against the rules. You can do that on YouTube with an account. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to find a way to get those linked to people so that you can see what it is we're talking about and why they're a banger. Why that Mutual of Omaha song slaps. Because it slaps. It slaps hard, fellas. It does. As for me, what have I been watching?
Is it like the Prudential with the whale?
Better. It's better than Prudential with the whale. Can't beat it. I actually have dug a couple of movies out of the archive. Obviously, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I've been trying to get through Maul. I've gotten a few episodes in. I've gotten kind of stalled on that one. But today, just because sitting around and I was like, you know what I haven't watched in a long time? Airplane. So I bust an Airplane is available to stream on Paramount Plus.
Hold on.
Surely
you can't be serious. Yeah. Oh, damn it, Dave. You should have kept going.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Though still blows my mind that even in the 70s, 1981, this line comes up. The boy who brings a cup of coffee to the girl offers her cream, and she's like, no, thank you. I take my coffee black, just like my men.
Like my men.
Awesome. Anyway, there's a lot of messed up sex jokes, like
Very
Robert
bad.
Stack's character's wife getting out of bed and there's a horse lying next to her. Use
Well,
the back
when you
door.
said you had,
That's
when you
more
had
of a
said, when you said you had a
Godfather
drinking,
reference.
when you said you had a drinking problem
No,
earlier.
she is clearly fucking the horse, dude. The horse is alive and awake, and she is telling him to use the back door to go home. Like, it is. There is some wrong stuff in Airplane. It's hilarious though. And then I've been watching some Marvel flicks, busted out. We rewatched Captain America: Civil War, and just forgot how good those that MCU run was when the Russos started with the Captain America franchise, and that iconic, the hero battle, but then Tony and Cap fighting at the very end and recreating the Civil War scene, comic cover. Good stuff. That's what I've been watching.
So, just before we get out of here, we all went and saw Mando and Grogu, and I imagine we all had the Odyssey trailer on a
Yes.
bigger screen in front of us. I was like, shit, I've got to come to the theater for this.
Mhm.
Like it
Oh, it's going to
looked-
look amazing.
yeah, it was just. I know it's got to be an IMAX and 3D, right? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm gonna super screen 3D it. I'm in for the weekend if you guys want to do it.
Yeah, I can't remember when does it.
July 17th.
I'll be in Italy, so you guys can talk about it. But I will catch it eventually. But it is on my to-do list to watch. But I will be in Italy at the time.
Patrick will watch it in Italian.
See.
That might not be a bad idea.
Oh wait, no.
No, that's
All right, Dave. What are you watching? Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. No, I will be watching later on. We are watching Project Hail Mary. So my wife. and I got that.
Excellent film. Excellent
Yeah,
film. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that.
We caught some of it, and then we were both just exhausted. Like, we'll come back to this today, but that's the main thing that I've been watching is that. So I'm looking forward to finishing Project Hail Mary and go on from there. But now I'm gonna have to go and rewatch Airplane. Maybe when we re-enlist, I'll teach him air hockey or something like that. So
Paramount Plus. It's currently streaming on Paramount Plus. So, all right, everyone. Before we get out of here, fellas, tell everybody where they can find you on the socials or bring them up on the screen because I know Dave learned how to do that too.
No, they're just there. They're underneath where we are. It's fine.
So at PC Tunny to follow Tunny, at Attitude AGG to follow Dave.
Well, I didn't even. There you go. Dave did.
I'm doing it.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head. And you can follow me at Wrestling Realist at WRESTLNGREALIST at Ray Cash at REY as in Mysterio $H as in cash. I think that's covered it. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you guys had fun listening to round one of the draft. Remember, next week, drama, intros to dramas in the 1970s. I think that's going to do it for this week's edition of Bandwagon Nerds. Now get yourself out of the basement, get some sun, and check out some old school cartoon intros. Don't watch the Brady Bunch. That was a fucking lie. You've been listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com.